Hi, I'm Jennifer Sen, and I'm a pregnancy loss recovery coach. I help women and their families heal from the loss of their baby, from a pregnancy loss or stillbirth, and I help them recover in a way that's healthy and honors them as well as their baby. I support them in a way that is open and objective from someone who's been there. Today I'm talking about comparison and loss. Do you ever wonder if your loss would have happened earlier, that maybe it would have been easier? Or maybe if you could have held on to your pregnancy a little longer, you would have been able to spend more precious time with your baby. Comparison is so present in our lives in general, and sadly, even in the event of pregnancy loss or stillbirth. The moment you even think about taking that pregnancy test, the dreams start building. Whether it is planned or unplanned, longed for or feared, there's something that's wired in us, maybe maternal instinct, that starts the ball rolling of all the dreams you have for them. Who will they look like? Their first steps, their first day of school, graduation, wedding. Then it switches to what kind of car will you need to fit the car seat in? Or where will the crib be placed? There's no end to the circle of thoughts and dreams that start forming in your mind the minute you see that positive test. I went on vacation recently with my sister, and the subject came up about the two miscarriages she had. Both were around the 8 to 10 week mark, and it made me think of how I felt at that time. I was so sad that she was hurting, worried that she would not be able to or even want to try for another baby, even though I know it was what she wanted. And I was thankful for her that it happened early so she didn't have to suffer more with a later loss. What I later learned in my own experience when I lost my twin girls is that there's no good time to experience a pregnancy loss. And just because you didn't get as much time with them doesn't mean that it wasn't any less present in your life, that it was any less real, less meaningful, or less painful. I told her about this quote I created, and she thought I should share it with you. Our stories are all different, but the ending is the same. None of us get to raise our babies. What difference does it make if our loss occurred early or late, or at birth? All scenarios are tragic, and while the details vary and there's certainly more that needs to be dealt with in a later pregnancy loss, the mental load is the same. It reminds me of the mommy wars, where comparison also is very present and it rears its ugly head. Breastfeeding or bottle, working mom or stay at home. Comparison is often a way that people make themselves feel better about the choices they've made. And in the case of a pregnancy loss, most well-meaning people are trying to say something to be helpful or to make you feel better. And some of the most hurtful things others said to me came in the form of comparison. Even at my late stage of pregnancy loss, I had someone say, "At least you didn't get to know them and get attached." Which, besides being incredibly insensitive, was shocking because I was quite attached in many ways. And the usual, there must have been something wrong with them. So it's probably for the best. That's a whole other conversation for another time, dealing with other people say. It speaks to our culture of having to have a reason for everything in order to process things. And we don't really need that to move on. Unfortunately, in human nature and biology, there isn't always an explanation. I desperately wanted an answer after my loss of why it happened. What could I have done different? I needed to compartmentalize it in my mind. And somehow that would make it all okay. We did have an autopsy, and while a few minor things showed in it, it didn't take away the fact that I was leaving that hospital with empty arms. Since we can't change the things that come out of other people's mouths or how they react to what we say, much of the work I do with my clients are navigating the feelings that come up when other people are really insensitive. And these people typically are not ones that have ever experienced this type of loss. We deal with the what ifs and create strategies to handle them when comparison shows up within themselves. It's important that the grieving parents work through their grief in a way with someone who's able to guide them in a healthy direction in order to have long-term success. I know that's what changed everything for me, and I can help them make peace with what happened, even though it doesn't make sense. If you want to learn a little bit more about me and how I can help, you can visit my website at jennifersen.com. And be sure to download your free copy of the 10 questions you ask yourself when you lose your baby. All the links are in the notes, but I just want to let you know that I'm sending you so much love, my friends. Until next time.